A few days back, I published my own coloring book, which I have been loving coloring on. But today, I thought I would get a little bit more craftsy and color on it with Play-Doh. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Paula. I'm a full-time artist that likes to have fun. And if you're not new, welcome back. Let's see what happens as we get creative. Okay, so here's my lovely book, and I chose this page to do with Play-Doh because it's a character that I've colored already. So I thought maybe it was a good choice to make fluffy since I'm already familiar with its colored version. The first thing I'm going to do is transfer the image to a canvas board I got because the paper won't be able to hold the weight of the Play-Doh. I have all of the original images of my book, so printing it out in reverse was an easy task. But if you have the book, you can always scan it or take a picture to get the image. I mean, you can even rip out the page if you have the heart. Just kidding, you can do whatever you want with your book. Enjoy it any way you want. Anyhow, printed a copy, and to transfer it to canvas, I wet it first. I also cut out the excess paper around the image so I would be able to center it better. Once I cut it, I added gel medium on top to the wet canvas. Here's the thing. I've done this before, but for some reason I completely blanked out on how I used to do this, but I thought it was going to be better to add a thick layer of medium. And then obviously I placed my image on top and decided to see what happened. I was really surprised that I don't remember how to do this. I haven't done it in ages, but I used to print out pictures to use on canvas a lot. Here's an example of a painting from a while ago that I keep in my studio. I guess I'm getting old. I don't remember. My plan was to let the gel medium dry completely with the paper on top. That part I remember, scraping the dry paper off after it was dry. But I stood up, went to my room, made my bed, and for whatever reason I decided to go back to check on it, and I could see the ink look like it moved. So I just peeled the paper off, and yeah, it was already on there super fast. That worked. I'm learning something new here too. I'm learning I've been transferring wrong, probably, and I'm going to try to learn how to add color to this page with Play-Doh. Actually, I'm always learning, and I like sharing that with you. Which leads me to tell you a bit about today's sponsor, and that is Craftsy. If you don't know who they are an online community with tons of resources for creatives. Seriously, they have so many classes. Everything from knitting, quilting, sewing, baking, home decor, yoga, fitness, and even arts and crafts for kids. They have over 2,000 inspiring classes for makers of all skill levels. I was super excited to see all the drawing and painting classes, like this class that I joined to improve my drawing skills. So many tips and tricks that really will help me daily. Browsing the platform, I was immediately immersed in the wide variety of classes that they have. I want to learn so many things. I was lost on this process of choosing my next art technique class when I stumbled on this chair yoga lesson. I watched the preview and decided it was just what I needed. My neck has been killing me lately. I've done everything to release the stiffness, so I thought I would give it a try. It was a wonderful gift to my body to find this class since I spent so many hours on my desk. This is the perfect active break for me. Anyhow, if you're like me and love to learn new things all the time to complement your life, home, and creative endeavors, be sure to check out Craftsy. If you're interested in trying it out, you can go ahead and click the link below in the description box of my video. The first 1,000 of you to click the link in the description will get a full year of premium membership to Craftsy for only $1.49, and this is valid for new members only. Back to my experimental learning, I realized there are areas where the ink moved way too much because I put way too much gel medium on. Next time when I transfer an image, I'll just put a smaller amount of gel. Learning. So I peeled the paper off and I had a good enough image, so I just left that to dry. It's not a perfect transfer, but it will work perfectly for this idea. So in comes the Play-Doh. Oh my gosh, I love how it smells. It just brings up so many memories. I've always loved Play-Doh. For this project, I bought a simple pack with different colors and this little contraption that I had when I was a kid. Honestly, I bought it because I was feeling nostalgic, and I justified the purchase by saying I might need to create a cross-shaped noodle. So I took some clay out and I really forgot I was filming a video and started to play. I modeled the pencil from the thumbnail first. Yeah, When it comes to having something new on my desk, I have the excitement and attention span of a 5-year-old. But I actually remember why I got the Play-Doh, so back to the page, I wanted it to look clean, so I painted that little edge of the canvas with an acrylic marker. Then I added a little bit of white glue so the Play-Doh would not move. Decided the first thing I would do is mix a color to start adding it to the background. For a hot second, I thought it would be a good idea to get my machine out and make some spaghetti because I thought it was gonna be nice to coil it all over the background, but that was a big no. It looked bad instantly. So I switched to just covering the background with Play-Doh. It was looking quite a mess, not what I was expecting, but I decided to power through and keep at it. While doing it, I was remembering why I wanted to do this in the first place. I have this friend who is an illustrator, and like maybe 10 years ago, she illustrated some rhymes for a project, and she shared a couple of images on her Instagram. She did it with Play-Doh. What? I love that, and I've been wanting to try it ever since then. But of course, now that I've started the process myself, I am quickly learning it's not as easy as I thought it was going to be. Because my background was looking so terrible, I thought maybe I could fix it by adding texture. So I grabbed this bubble wrap and tried to stamp it on, but it looks worse. Back to smoothing it out with my fingers, and I decided maybe I should move on to something else and then come back to it because I was just making it uglier and uglier. So I mixed a little bit of green for the ground and pressed that onto my canvas. At least that part was looking a little bit better, so I felt better. Now I wanted to do the darker parts of his little blanket, so I mixed this kind of dark pink to do the back, because I figured for this project I should go from the back to the front of the image. Then I worked on the character, so I mixed the light tan color for it. I started to put it on its body and feet, making corrections as I move forward. And I actually realized I needed to have my original image next to me all the time, because I was losing the line work underneath the Play-Doh. It's funny, when I filmed this, neither Rose's or Dai's videos with my book were out. They both used clays on it, creating a fluffy version of the illustrations, and I gotta tell you, they killed it. They were much smarter on their approach than me. You definitely have to watch their videos. Maybe I need to try this again now that I've learned from them. Maybe with foam clay and not Play-Doh, maybe? I don't know. Back to my happy, ignorant self who was loving playing with Play-Doh, although I wasn't getting the result I expected. After I was done with the body, I removed it because I realized I used the wrong color. So I mixed another color and put the body on the meerkat back again. And then just added a little belly patch with the lighter color on. That looked better, and it was time to add the face. When I was stretching the Play-Doh for the face, I quickly realized I did not have enough Play-Doh for it, especially if I wanted it to look fluffy and dimensional. So I decided to grab a ball of a color I wasn't going to use anymore so that I could give the face dimension, and then I would just cover all that blue with the little clay I had for the face. I mean, I think that was a good solution. It looks okay, right? You can't tell I didn't have enough clay. I also added the darker part of the head, and I also had very little brown left. So I did my best to model it with what I had. Right about then, I realized I was late to pick up my kit, so I decided to put this in a plastic bag and hope that it wouldn't harden until I could get back to it later. When I did this, I thought maybe I could use the plastic bag to make it smoother, and it actually worked. Later turned out to be 2 days later, but the plastic bag worked and it was still soft. So I smoothed the clay a bit more with the plastic on, and then I took it out to start working on the security blanket this guy holds. I was gonna do that first, but then I realized I needed to do the plants first since they are further back. And maybe I forgot to mention that this little character of mine is called Anxious Me. He's a little meerkat, and it's very, very anxious and worried. His mom gave him his blanket and a little smiley sticker for him to feel better. He's anxious because he has a boo-boo, and I think boo-boo or not, we've all been him. I created this character in a collab video with my friend Ashley, and she did a fantastic job on creepifying him, so you can go check that out. It's really weird recording a voiceover sometimes because there's times like today where a little bit of time has passed between recording and editing, and I get frustrated with myself and how I chose to do things. It's weird. I have to try to be nice with myself and not over criticize me for being let's not call myself names. It's weird because I wouldn't call anyone else anything, but I would call me something. So yeah, just to show you how we tend to be nicer to everyone outside, and we can be different to ourselves when we self-talk. So I'm checking that, and I'm going to stop judging myself as I do my voiceover and carry on. So I mixed a little pink for the blanket and I thought that was the perfect color, so I started to model it on. Again, for the bunny security blanket, I did not have enough Play-Doh because when I was mixing the colors, I ran out of white. White is what I need to get the desaturated hues I like. So again, I'm using a piece of the bright pink to make it look fluffier and more dimensional by hiding it in the back, just like we did with the head. When most of the canvas was covered, I decided to use my clay tools to try on to model everything to look nicer, and then I also added the tiny moon and other mini details. For the flowers, I actually chose to change them from the original drawing because I really wanted that fluffy look on them that you get by just slightly pushing in little balls of clay. So I made them all that way and actually added more than shown on the page. I think that was the most enjoyable part for me from the whole process. I then added the eyes, the dots on his band-aid, his mouth, and the tiny eyes, for which I had reserved a tiny bit of white Play-Doh to make the shinies. It was really hard to add the details, so I did have to use a pair of tweezers to add the eyebrows and stuff, and then with my tools I just scored the Play-Doh to create the stitches that the blanket has. I added the face and the buttons to it too, and kept adding the stitching and more details. Oh, and I didn't have black, so it looks a tad weird, but this is my fluffy colored page. He looks completely different, I know. His expression has changed. I know I'm not the best with clay, but I always want excuses to play with it, so there. Not happy with the result, but happy with the activity. I hope you enjoyed watching me trying to color with an unexpected material, at least enough that you will meet me next Friday in another video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have the most wonderful day. Bye!